Let's turn to the Arabian Peninsula. The Arabian Peninsula is a tilted peninsula with mountains in the west that gradually slope down toward the Persian Gulf in the east. The flow of water, of course, is always downslope. This includes groundwater. Groundwater is what it seems like it is. It's water that's below the surface of the planet. Water that's below the surface of the planet also flows downwards because of gravity, though, from a higher area to a lower area. In the Arabian Peninsula, this can create oases. Oases is the plural word. Oasis is the singular word. So there is an oasis, but there are oases. Oases are places in the desert with a permanent supply of water. This water comes from groundwater and generally flowing from a spring. The landscape also creates wadis. Take a look at this map here. You can see the Red Sea, you can see the Persian Gulf, and then you can see the Arabian Peninsula. Notice that along the western side where the Red Sea is at, there are mountains. It's actually very rugged, and they rise steeply away from the Red Sea. These mountains are 8, 10, even 12,000 feet high. Because of that, believe it or not, there are actually some forested areas in this part of the world, especially in that southwestern part of Saudi Arabia, through Yemen, and into Oman. One of the most famous incense on earth comes from there. It's the sap of the frankincense tree. What happens is this. During the winter, there's sometimes precipitation there, which means that you could be sailing along the Red Sea and you look up at the mountains to the east and you would see snow on those mountains. As that precipitation flows downslope, it flows across the Arabian Peninsula towards the Persian Gulf, the way those yellow arrows are indicating. There are no rivers that flow across the Arabian Peninsula, at least no permanent rivers. Of course, the Euphrates and the Tigris flow across Iraq, but this is not the Arabian Peninsula. I drew a profile for you of the Arabian Peninsula. Notice to the west you can see the Red Sea, and it's a very steep landscape that rises out of the Red Sea. To the east is the Persian Gulf. The blue arrow indicates the movement of water downslope from those high mountains down towards the Persian Gulf. Take a look again. You can see the Red Sea, you can see the Persian Gulf, and you can see the landscape of the Arabian Peninsula. Water is going to flow downslope, whether it's above the ground, as this diagram is indicating, or it's below the ground. This is the Arabian Peninsula. Those layers that you see as you look down into the earth are called strata. Strata means layers. It generally refers to sedimentary rock. If you look over towards the left-hand side, you can see recharge areas at outcrops of confined aquifers. An aquifer is a layer of rock that allows water to pass through it. Rocks like sandstone and limestone can act as aquifers. What happens is, because of the nature of this landscape, where the rock bends upwards towards the west as it goes towards the mountains, layers of rock that may be hundreds, even thousands of feet below the ground in one area are exposed in the mountains. Then when precipitation happens, snow or rainfall, the water is able to leach into these aquifers and flows downslope. Now you can see that the rock bends upwards a little bit. Well, the water is going to continue to flow upwards and then down again because of the weight of the water behind it pressing it forward. These, in yellow, are the aquifers. And you can see that there are places where that water rises to the surface, whether that's through a fault crack or whether it's because the sedimentary strata bend upwards and reach the surface. This provides for water at the surface. And you can see there's a number of places in this diagram that are indicated as oases, areas in the desert with permanent supplies of water. Most of the areas that you see where there's dots that indicate cities in the Arabian Peninsula are formed along oases because it is a very arid landscape. You do need water. These are wadis. Wadis are dry riverbeds. Now, I say dry. Occasionally, it rains there. And in fact, in deserts, when it rains, oftentimes it's a thunderstorm, which means lots of water comes down over a very short period of time. And then what the water does is it flows rapidly across the landscape and soaks in. Historically, in the Arabian Peninsula, the wadis have been very significant because these have been, first of all, transportation routes. Clearly, if you're in a wadi, you are either moving upslope or downslope. In addition to that, as you can see, especially on the right-hand side, sometimes the wadis have vegetation in them. And if they have vegetation, that means that there might be water. Maybe the water's not flowing, the water might be groundwater. Even on the left-hand side, people who live in that area know that if they're moving around there, if they're nomadic, they can dig into the lowest area. That's going to be the place where you're going to be able to find water. And if you're grazing animals, additionally, you will be able to find water and you'll be able to find vegetation for the animals. So they played critically important parts in the history of that part of the world.